Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another quarterfinal of the Champions Cup. Now, last night's game, or this morning, depending on where you are in the world, Leinster versus Glasgow, it was anything but close. The Bordeaux Bègles, or no, I can't pronounce that, I'll be honest. Bordeaux, we'll call them, up against Munster here. I just feel like this game either has potential of being extremely close, like the game between Munster and La Rochelle last week, or Bordeaux will be able to run away with it. Question marks of whether or not Munster have two massive games in them in a row. But looking through at the starting lineup here, first of all, for Bordeaux, they have got some brilliant players in there. Adam Coleman, of course, some of you guys will know him from an ex-Aussie international in the midfield. Then it's going to be Mofana and also Rohan Janse van Rensburg, and then Jalabert Luku and 19 combo that can cause some real damage. And then Belbarri, Damien Pinot out on the wings for the Munster side. They've got their fair share of international players too. Thacker Abrahams in their number 15 jersey. Crowley in their number 10 alongside Casey Nankerville and Tom Farrell in the middle. Out on the wing, it is Andrew Smith and Kelvin Nash. Like, these two sides are stacked. And I do think that there is a huge potential, like I said, for a close game that can go down to the wire. But at the same time, you know, we saw, that's not the right one, we saw this, 52-0 in favour of Leinster over Glasgow. And I will mention the winner of this contest does go on to face the winner of Toulon versus Toulouse. And the winner of the Northampton-Castray game will face Leinster in the next match. But of course, do let me know who you guys think will be able to win this contest. Bordeaux have a decent team, well, says Tony. And yeah, a lot of those international guys that you don't really realise are in that Bordeaux side. I mean, even that loose forward trio, we didn't mention it, but Guido Petty is there. They've got Pete Samu, another Australian international, ex-player for the Brumbies. And then, I mean, Munster, they've got their fair share of international guys in there too. Peter O'Mahony going to be playing in that number 6 jersey, so quite the player to have in that lineup. Yeah, it's going to be very intriguing to see who does get the victory here. But without further ado, we are now ready for this matchup, or at least very close to it. Andrew Smith is on loan from Connacht, an ex-Sevens player. Says Sean and Kia ora, Hamish, bro. I really appreciate you taking the time to do all these streams. You're awesome. Says Matthew. Yeah, we are currently sitting almost at that 2 a.m. mark here in New Zealand, which is why the brain is slowly getting a little bit more delusional, I guess you could say. But we are going to be doing Toulon versus Toulouse, and the match taking place tomorrow also. So be sure to keep an eye on that one too. We've just seen in the Challenge Cup a victory for Edinburgh. Anyone wondering about the quarterfinals of that competition? These are the ones that do still remain. We aren't covering Ospreys versus Lyon. We are not doing either of those other two matches either. But as you can see, home field advantage means a lot in this competition. Same with the Champions Cup. I believe that Northampton, Bordeaux are both favourites. Toulon, Toulouse is a tricky one because, of course, Toulouse are the defending champions. They are playing a little bit of thunderstruck around the ground, AC/DC in Bordeaux. These two sides now will make their way out of the tunnel. Going to be important to get off to a great start for Munster. Their last game was up against La Rochelle, and like I said, they caused the massive upset. They weren't supposed to win that game over La Rochelle, who have won multiple Champions Cup in recent times. Now they've got a big match up against Bordeaux side, and then just to add insult to injury, they have to play the Bulls next week, and then Cardiff in Wales for that next contest. 2-4 Bordeaux. They were able to beat Ulster 43 points to 31. They have got Pau as well as La Rochelle in 14 days' time for the top 14 too. But they are showing Belbarri, a try-scorer machine. Cheers for covering the Munster game from Derek. Says Derek there, no worries at all. It is a matchup that I was disappointed not to be able to cover La Rochelle versus Munster last week, so I felt like I wanted to make up for it by doing this game here. And I really hope it doesn't disappoint. Last match we covered was 6 points difference. The one before that for the Champions Cup was 52-0. So anything but that would be ideal. And come on, Munster, thanks to the wife, it got the chicken sambo plus a box of beer I think without DuPont, the Italian winner might cost them, says Sean there as well. But now going to be kicked off by Munster from left to right. Another match of the Champions Cup is underway for a spot in the semi-final against Toulouse or Toulon. Big kick downfield from Maxime Luku, very close to the sideline, but well handled by Theka Abrahams. Gavin Coombs passes it across now for Andrew Smith, the elusive winger, I should say. Although, of course, he would like to be the winner in this match too. Tyke Byrne offloads it back across. Good pace from Theka Abrahams. Again, gets close to the sideline. This pitch in Bordeaux looks a little bit roughed up at the moment. Almost got a whole heap of polka dots on it. Not too sure what has happened there. Little flick pass round the back from Craig Casey. I don't know whether or not that is necessary at this stage of the contest. Maybe trying to get himself a big contract deal in France next year. Gavin Coombs in open space goes on the outside here. And they'll move to only about 10 metres out from the line with Farrell. Maxime Luku and a little knock on comes from Andrew Smith in the breakdown. It does mean that it will be Bordeaux now with the scrum, but very good start to the match from Munster, keeping that ball alive, moving it around, and just making a lot of metres in the process. Definitely with Gavin Coombs when he's got the ball in hand, and be an absolute handful. And just ends up falling out of the grasp in the end as well. I went to the Highlanders game. I hope we beat the Chiefs. Says Shane, and hopefully in Munster's favour. A one-score game. Says Patrick, and Munster 41 points to 31. Prediction there from Blues Nate. I know P. Summer. I worked with him for a couple of years. His older brother I worked with for 10 years. And their dad and uncle, they are a nice family. There's Matthew. And 2 a.m. in New Zealand. How are you holding up? I've felt the tiredness a little bit, I'll be honest. After that last live stream, I stood up and went, yep, it's late at night. If you get the Bordeaux back 3 silent, Munster will be doing very well. And yeah, if they can keep Biel Barry and Pinot as quiet as possible, plus, Luku, he's an underrated player. A lot of people say, of course, about Antoine Dupont in that 9 jersey, but I think Luku's going to do just fine in the near future. He does get that opportunity. Line out throw here for Baron, claimed by Peter O'Mahony, but it has gone onto the side of Bordeaux off a knock on. Now, taking it back into their 22, Mofana runs it up the middle, finds the offload. Here comes the ball towards Biel Paris, but just not quite able to get it away was Johan Rancifans Rensburg. The big man being Tame Funa, the Tongan international. The pocket for Jalabert, who will kick it down into the Munster 22. Having both of them wingers is so unfair. Says Sebastian, yeah, absolute class, no matter what side of the field you go to, where you're watching the match. This one is on Sky Sport here in New Zealand. The last match of the Challenge Cup, we did have to buy through EPC Rugby, but luckily this one is through the Sky subscription, Bordeaux to do it. Says Ruth. Boring, says Shane Hayes. Which part of it? The first 3 minutes of this game? The fact that it's been already end-to-end stuff between these two sides? Now line out throw here for Lemoth. It does go into the front to Pete Samu. Maxime Luku, Jalabert kicks it in behind. And chance here. Oh, that's an ugly clean out from Munster on their own player. And we have there Matthew Howdy. And it's getting darker and wetter out there, says Ruth. And there's well Gavin Coombs, quick hands. Crowley goes on the outside, but it has travelled forward. Come on, Munster, says Poldy Hickey. And come on, Munster. We have there, why don't you do a Warriors NRL, says Shane. I mean, we have done them in the past. Normally they met with a bit of a mixed reception. Normally there is also an overlap. Luckily they're playing tomorrow, so that will be quite nice. But yeah, we normally just stick to the rugby union side of things. It's a bit safer, I guess you'd say. 4.5 minutes in. It is going to be the scrum feed, and already a bit of an injury here for Munster. Said there, Nankerville having the collision with his own teammate. Where can I watch it? Says, oh, and depends on whereabouts you are in the world. For us here in New Zealand, it's on Sky. I know that for certain locations that it's not available through broadcasters. It's on the EPC rugby website. But it is a match fee of anywhere, I think it's like €7.99 to be able to watch a game of the Champions Cup if it's not available on a prior broadcast. I think Premier Sports have it as well, depending on where you are. Only 4.5 minutes in. Bordeaux will have themselves the scrum seat, sitting about 30 metres out from the line. Everything is okay. You're there. Says Ruth. Now Maxime Luku. Put in this ball in. They have got the option of Samu off the back as well. I was going to win this game, says Matthew and Hamish. Last match for you today. You get well-deserved rest, says Rufus. And, of course, at 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, we will also have Toulon versus Toulouse. It'll kick him behind from Jalabert. Bit of a foot race. Pinot wins it and scores the early try. And we have having Pinot or Louis Bialbari as a cheat code, says Tonian. And already Damien Pinot is on the board versus Super Rugby or NRL. Well, you don't necessarily have to watch this one, Shane. You've already said it's boring 3 minutes in. So we wouldn't blame you if you left, seeing as you don't like European rugby. End of the day, they're a competition some people like more than others. Storm game is a sellout, says Shane Hayes. And we have the hashtag box, says Sebastian. And thanks, Spider, doing great, says Ruth. And there as well in Premier Sports UK and Ireland. And here's a quick try, says Ruth. Yeah, very fast from Bordeaux. Although Munster, they had their decent enough chance down the other end of the field, but just not able to capitalise in that last 10 metres when knocking the ball on. Jalabert now is going to have the chance of adding the extra 2. And that one just misses away to the side, hits the post. So after 6 minutes, the score for Bordeaux is 5-0 in their favour over Munster. Just a really nice kick from Jalabert as well. Knew that he was going to have the pace of Pinot on the wing to work with. And, I mean, they have that option if they wanted to go the other wing. They've got Bialbari. Bordeaux might be the side to beat, or at least one of the sides. There's so many at the moment who have got a great chance of winning this comp. There's going to be a knock-on from Bordeaux, though. I think it was Mo Fana. Ended up having that ball go through his hands. Hey, yep, all good, says Blues Nate. Now going back for the knock-on. Yeah, just goes straight through Mo Fana, and then Adam Coleman was actually in the offside position, so I think that was what Munster were asking for, hoping for a penalty, but due to it being accidental offside, it does just remain as the scrum. Be 20 metres out from the line here. Pretty solid front rowers. Ollie Jaeger is there for Munster, of course, ex-Crusaders man. Great Casey to feed the ball in. I'll flip the coin to see which team for me heads Munster, tail Bordeaux. It is Munster for me, says Spider Mix. So you're going for the big underdogs. In that regard, big push here from Munster, and they have got themselves the penalty advantage at scrum time. That is quite a massive thing to have early on. Bit of a rough pass goes to Calvin Nash, but he was under immense pressure from Pinot. Little grubber attempted from Craig Casey, goes straight into the hands of Jalabert, and they will go back for the penalty. Just saying in the commentary there that it's a little bit surprising that Munster are the team that managed to get themselves the early scrum penalty. New Zealand Rugby need to wake up Highlanders game plus the Blues final at the same time. Here's Shane Hayes. It does make it a little bit tricky. I think that a lot of people would have watched, well, maybe not a lot, but at least some would have watched the games individually. Try scorer on the right wing, Six Nations player of the tournament on the left wing, justice undetected. Says Sebastian, it looks like Munster are actually going to opt for the 3 points here. They are relatively in front of the post. It would be the safe option to get some form points on the board. They would already be doing better than the Glasgow Warriors. In that case, Jack Crowley, the man with kicking responsibilities today, for an opportunity at getting the first kick, not just for his side, but of any kicker in this contest over. But both kickers seem to be using up as much time as they can out of the 60 seconds. And I just wonder whether or not that is to try and keep the tempo slower in this head-to-head. Of course, both teams know how to score a lot of points. Munster would prefer a Bordeaux side that aren't trying to run them off their feet, though. That kick has gone over. Now means that the score is within 2. Still early days. Could have had a women's final today, says Shane. Yeah, I think it was also down to the fact that they wanted to get more people watching it live in the stands. So they decided to double it up with the matchup taking place between the Blues and Moana Pacifica, although I don't think that worked too well either because quite a few people from that game, by the looks of it, left after the men's match was finished. Now, going to be another line-out chance here for Bordeaux, about 25 metres out from Munster's line. It's chucking it down my garden. Looks like a duck pond. Yikes. See his roof there. Who's the team to beat here, Hammy? I mean, Leinster, their last 2 games, they've scored 114 points and have not conceded a single one. But, you know, like these French sides are always ones to watch out for. But I would still say Leinster. I think it is their competition to lose, although they haven't really been met with a big challenge yet. So I think that might actually play a bit of a factor too. A rolling maul being attempted here by Bordeaux. Luku goes across to Mofana, who hits it up in the midfield. Luku pops it up again. Or it would have been Lemouth. And after Blues won before, says Shane. And it looks 50-50. Then Bowden Barrett get the ball. Oh, sorry, Belbari gets the ball. They look so dangerous. Says Jimbo. This looks like Ben Tamefuna might have taken a bit of a knock to the head here in the breakdown. And it takes a lot to drop that man, that is for sure. Right, time is off at the moment. I think they're actually going to check this. If Ben Tamefuna has stayed down, it's normally something pretty substantial. It looks like Jean Klein may have hit him with a shoulder. Was dropping his head. In fact, it's almost the back of the head of Jean Klein that strikes him. And, Bordeaux Bègles. I always say their last bit wrong, but it looks like they are actually going to be having a TMO check here. Was Leinster's last night game shown in New Zealand? It was. So the Champions Cup they have been showing in New Zealand, which is great. Challenge Cup they don't. So that last match that we did between the Bulls and Edinburgh, we actually had to buy while through a VPN and set ourselves to Australia for that match so that we could watch it, which luckily ran relatively smoothly. There was one little bit that slightly impacted it, BEGLES, the pronunciation. I absolutely butchered it in the intro. I was feeling a bit of the tiredness at that stage, just trying to warm the brain back up. You're going to look at this about 15 times. Jean Klein did go low, to his credit. Okay, the crowd are booing at that one, but that was the wrong decision. Like, they were looking at Hodnett's one. That's the shot that they're supposed to be booing at, but I think the crowd are confused at which one they want to go with. Bègles. I will always say it like that. Gonna see it now. Oh. See, Jean Klein, it's a tricky one because he ducks his head. Joey Barrett is enjoying him playing for Leinster. Yeah, I think he's absolutely loving it. Hearing him in the post-match interview, he seemed to be living his best life at the moment. It's a rugby collision, says Ninashvili. And it's going to be playing on with the penalty. That's a good decision. Head down every time, no foul play. Says Jimbo. Yeah, Jean Klein was low. Tamefuna was also ducking down, so that makes it difficult. It's just going to be the penalty. The Munster crowd happy with that one. Geordie Barrett is doing well overseas, says Shane. And it looks like they are going to opt for the 3 points now of Jalabert. Did miss his first kick, so currently sitting 0 from 1. But one should be a nice, easy one, about 15 metres out to get him on the score sheet. Tamefuna, one of those players that it does take a big shot to keep him down, so hopefully he will be all right to continue. Jalabert has got it over. That will now make the score 8 points to 3. Okay, it looks like he's going to be all right, Ben Tamefuna. Crowd, he was just letting them know a little bit, or at least trying to get them fired up. He was going like this to the crowd just before, as well as that to see whether or not Munster crowd were going to get a little bit louder. It's probably why he became a bit of a fan favourite in that Rugby World Cup. Doesn't take anything too seriously. Tameifuna, most people who got hit that hard in the head would have probably gone off for an HIA. He just went, nah, we're all good. My profession was a weatherman. Without rain, there would be nothing. Absolutely nothing. Celebrate when it rains. You need it to be alive. You are compromised mostly of H2O. That's why people say about that pickup line of saying your body's like 85% water and I'm thirsty. That's the thing, isn't it? I've never used that pickup line disclaimer. I don't think I ever would either. We were great if Premier Sports get Super Rugby, says Mark. Yeah, it's a bit hard to find Super Rugby by the sounds of it in the north, which is a bit of a shame. Hopefully playoff games, they somehow pick up like a short-term license and can show it. Hamish, always great to catch you on here, says Rory. Welcome in. Now Bordeaux with another attacking chance round the halfway line. It is Jansi Funds Rensburg. Pete Samu with the pick and go. Don't ever use that line, says Jimbo. Now Mofana passes it across. Big shot again. Munster trying to use that physicality. Diaby gets the pass up to Pete Samu. Now off to the left again. Jalabert. Mofana. Oh no, more space. Damien Pinot. He's running on the wing. Goes for the grubber kick forward. Almost accidental offside. Oh, that's poor from the big man Josh Wickerley. Wasn't able to put it down. And it's another try for Bordeaux. That was just mistake after mistake for Munster. My sister's birthday tomorrow, Hammy. She'll be 19. Says Spider Mix. So a big happy birthday to your sister. I'll dodge the lightning and the raindrops. Says Roof. Best pickup line I see. Do you have any South African in you? Would you like some? Says Rory. And I assume that in that case you have to be South African to say it, or else if I said it, it would be a bit strange. I'd have to say, do you want some? And then if they say yes, I'd have to say, well, this is my friend Rory. And he's from South Africa. I was wondering where Pete Samu disappeared to, says Matthew. Yeah, it's with Bordeaux. Works for all nations, says Rory. What a line, says Ruth. Happy birthday to your sister, says Ruth there too. Now ready to kick this one. Jalabert once again using up pretty much the full 60 seconds, but it does go over. We'll make the score now 15 points to 3. Munster have to be very careful here, because if they concede again, it's going to be so much more challenging. But Damien Pinot causing problems. Wickerley, he just misread the bounce of the ball. Luku just waited patiently for his chance to grab it. Did end up doing just that. You're the anchor that keeps my heart grounded. That's a beauty, says Sebastian. I appreciate your approval, Roof. It's very difficult to play successive matches in France, if not impossible, says Jonathan. Yeah, even the top 14 sides struggle to do so. Any away game always seems to have a real challenge for the side that aren't at home. Now kicking this one towards the touchline. It does go out. Now line out here for Munster. They will be sitting around maybe 42 metres out from the line again. Very important one for them here. I love Super Rugby nothing more than being in the zoo at the Highlanders game, says Shane. It didn't look like the zoo was as packed as normal for today with the Fijian draw. It seemed like they had shoved them all at the front and kind of left those back seats open. Now 15 minutes already gone. This one is flying by. A touch early, says Jimbo. Another cracking pick-up line. Nice legs. Time do they open, says Rory. There's going to be a penalty going the way of Munster. And Matthew, and my phone is possessed, says Jimbo. I'll be honest, I'm confused at what you were trying to put, Jimbo. It seemed like everything was kind of joined into a couple words. Now, Crowley will kick this one towards the side. Oh, that came really badly off the side of the boot. They're not getting a huge amount of distance on it. That's where Munster needed a left footer. Wichita, says Jimbo. Who's that man? I feel like I should recognise him. He looks French. He's got the bleach blonde hair, or the frosted tips as they call them. We'll get there, Jimbo. Says Sebastian. There you have the most cheeky grin, it's gold. Says Rory. It's at about 15 metres out for the line again. A nice carry forth from Damien Pinot. Wycherley. Yeah, I didn't get the, what did I say? Wickerly. I didn't get that in there. You know? And now Maxime Luku kicks it downfield again, and it does almost go into touch. In fact, it does. Brilliant kick from Maxime Luku. The French really causing problems at the moment for this Irish team. Going to be the line out for Munster, about 40 metres out from the line here, but they don't start winning the territory battle. That is when France just start to suffocate you. What team do you think France will bring to New Zealand? A very much experimental one. You know your phone is a witch, says Spider-Man. Nicely taken by Peter O'Mahony. Going off to the left-hand side, Crowley across to Gavin Coombs, tackled by Diaby. Parties, that's why, says Shane. I feel like that would be brilliant to hear, you know, the Super Rugby New Zealand representative when they're like, oh, we've noticed attendance is slightly down. So why is that? Parties, that's why. Perfect answer. Everyone will go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. People are too busy lighting couches on fire to be able to go to the rugby. Eden's getting a bit of a reputation for that. I feel like some Maccas now, at least they are open 24/7. Says Matthew. Now Maxime Luku goes back across to the left-hand side. Little kicker behind, attempted by Jalabert. What a kick that is again. Just forcing them further and further back. It is not quite a 50-22. Crowd are not happy about it. They wanted it to be one. I think what they don't realise is that line out was actually won inside of the half anyway, so it wouldn't have been a 50-22 no matter what happened. Bonjour, Hamish. Cheers. Cheering for UBB. Half asleep at 2:20 a.m. though. Says Studs Race. A line out throw for Barron. Oh, no, doesn't get to do it. Almost hit the ref with the ball. Okay. So Bordeaux, they've just said there that they set the line out outside of the 22, and Munster took it back in because they wanted to be able to kick this one into touch. But referee saying, no, I saw you. Get back to the mark. Barron now ready for this line out. Has to throw it. He's just waiting patiently. Is anyone... Okay, now they are lifting Peter O'Mahony. It just seemed like they were at a standing stop there for Munster. Now hodding it. About 30 metres out, and the penalty does go the way of Bordeaux again for scooping that ball back while he was off his feet. Bordeaux, this is the situation they find themselves in. A kick at the post will give them a lead by 15. A kick for the corner, and if they're able to score it, which they are now attempting, it could be leading by around that 20-point margin only 20 minutes into this game. It could be a big one. Commentator saying it was pretty harsh in the breakdown. Now, line out throw again for Bordeaux. Only 5 metres out from the line. Why don't Georgian refs never let you cheat, says Sebastian. Is he taken by Diaby? Now, rolling maul from Bordeaux. They've got about 8 men in there. It's not really moving forward. Good defence from Munster at maul time. Off to the left-hand side. Wide cut out pass to BL. Barry tries to step in then out. And he's going to be tackled brilliantly by Thacker Abrahams. Excuse me, Hamish, that has stopped. There's Shane Hayes. Because when was the last one? It was only a few weeks ago, wasn't it? But it's good to know that they have now got it under control. Now going back across to the right-hand side this time. Oh, Luku slipping over a player who was still on the ground. Gavin Coombs told to get out of it. Diaby again. Trying to get that a little bit closer. Munster giving away the penalty. The man was grounded. They did rip it away, so there was no clear release there. And they've decided to take it quickly here for Bordeaux. Now back across, Maxime Luku. Spin there. Very close to getting what would be their third try of the fixture. Over the ball, though, for Tyke Byrne, and he does get himself the penalty. Catch fires have stopped apart from St. Paddy's Day, says Shane. What happened in the Crusaders game, says the VI Tech. So the Crusaders managed to win that game by 7 points. Canes were making the late comeback. Crusaders down to 13 men. But, yeah, other than that, they managed to just hold on. I'm just seeing how many articles there have been about Dunedin and couch burning in the past. There's a few of them. Good old Tyke says that Sebastian and Munster beat their own selves. Says Spider-Mick in there too. They have now got themselves the line out, 40 metres out from Bordeaux's line, with a line out throw for Barron. My question is, why do they light the couch on fire? Surely, like, once that happens, you need a new couch. And that would just get annoying. You have to go to the furniture shop or go on Facebook. And people were from Timaru. I brought a dead kangaroo down there. I did see that. They love lighting things on fire and just bringing out the best in people down in Dunedin. Weather's not too bad down there at the moment, though, to be fair. Nice little kick of mine from Maxime Luku. I didn't expect Leinster to pump Glasgow by such a margin and keep them scoreless. Yeah, like the fact that, I've mentioned it a few times, but this statistic is crazy. The fact that Leinster in their last 2 games have scored 114 points and haven't conceded one is just crazy. And it shows why they are at the top of the URC, why they are top contenders for the Champions Cup 2. Bordeaux inside of their 22 with Maxime Luku. Kicks it down the field. Awkward bouncing ball, and it does go into touch madness, says Rory. G'day, Hamish. I have Munster to win this one, says Powerbite. They're going to have to get a little bit more territory in their favour. They want to make their way towards the semi-final. The bounce of the ball has definitely not been sitting too nicely for them either. That one there for Calvin Nash, he was chasing after it. How a couch is related to St. Patrick's Day, I have no idea, to be honest, but it just seems to be, you know, the day that they're like, oh, you've got a spare couch? I have an idea. Now off to the right-hand side here for Bordeaux, close to the sideline, keeping the ball alive. Bit of a rough pass there to Damien Pinot. Only got around his bootlaces. Little chip attempted by Jalabert. He was taken out slightly late. That was not regathered by Munster Viruel and Bialbari. Has now got it again for Bordeaux. After the left-hand side, Bentame Funa with the offload up to Diaby. Now across to the left-hand side. The meat is made by Guido Petty. As normally drink and bacon cabbage dinner. And Munster should minimise their errors. To have a show, says Spider-Man. Now pass one more on the outside here. For Bordeaux. Ishigari goes off to Pete Samu. It is another try for Bordeaux. I think he's saying that he didn't put it down initially, so scores it between the posts instead. Beautiful weather, says Shane. And also until I saw the Bordeaux lineup. Yeah, they're pretty stacked in this game. Anyone who hasn't seen it, we will show them on the screen here. Like, they've got Pinot and Belbar. That is strong enough in terms of the back line. Then you also chuck Mo Fana in there, Maxime Luku, who is a much better half than a lot of people give him credit for. You've got Jalabert, Pete Samu, Guido Petty, Bentame Funa in the front row. Like, it just goes from bad to worse besides that face, this Bordeaux side. So for Ulster to be able to score as many points as they did last week, they scored 31. I feel like they deserve quite a bit of credit there. Hashtag bollocks, says Sebastian. And get in there. Says Thuds Rays. That one's going to go over. Now making the score 22 points to 3. A 19-point deficit now for Munster. They have certainly been met with a challenge here from Bordeaux. Just spamming the stepping in terms of his big run. And then Samu, yeah, he didn't put it down initially. I'm seeing a Dupontless France, basically. Says Sebastian, and g'day, Hamish. I now have Bordeaux Bègles to win this one. Samu having a cracker of a game. Yeah, Pete Samu, I mean, he was great for the Brumbies, and it was a shame that they lost him, but he'll be making good money for Bordeaux. And also, seems like from what we've seen here, he is performing at a high level. Just with his power game, that is something that sometimes you lack in that fullback, but Samu will just run it hard all day. Now, Kicked high from Maxime Luku, does get it into touch, and again it will be the line out. Munster about 40 metres out from their line. Back from the opposition line, Bordeaux. And UBB rested players against Ulster. So foxing a little bit. Last week, says studs raised. I wonder if they were nervous at any stage when they did those resting ones, whether or not they thought, oh, have we chosen the wrong selection here? That one's not going to be straight. In fact, yep, that is the call from the referee. Not straight. St. Patrick's Day students have a thing. 6 drinks before 6 in the morning. Says Shane Hayes, and can see 60 points here. Says Jimbo. And Munster have way too many beers after that La Rochelle win. Look exhausted, says Rugby. Plus, Bordeaux are playing an exhausting pace in this matchup. They just end up going for line break after line break. Those chips in behind, making everyone run back. Okay, referee just telling both front rows, you need to be square and drive straight. Sounds like an easy enough bit of instruction. Whether or not they follow it will be a different story. Exactly, Rugby, nah, man. They've been tired from the get-go. Says Rugby in there. It's also, I mean, it is an exhausting schedule. We've got to remember this Irish side in Munster, you know, they've been playing in the URC. Next week, they're straight back into the URC as well. And for their best chance of winning games, they have to go pretty much with their strongest lineup, which is what they've gone with here again. Beautiful hands, but then just goes through the hands of Pinot out wide. But, like, they just don't get a break. You know, you're week in, week out, just going match after match. And, you know, their next game of the URC, it doesn't get much easier for them because they're going up against the Bulls. So if they want to win that game at home, they'll probably have to go relatively big for that one too. And what happened to the Bulls? Thought they were our best team off day. They actually did pretty well up against Edinburgh, a bit of a younger Bull side. And the bench had some good impact, but also some pretty poor moments too. I believe for that win last week, nothing left. There's Jimbo there. Yeah, I mean, looking at their schedule, like the 30th of March is when they did play up against Connacht, and it was a tough game too. 30 points to 24, they managed to get the win. The week before that, they played Glasgow, and they lost 28 points to 25. That's another grueling contest. The week prior to that, I believe we were back off. So, you know, that's 2 hard games in a row. They go into their match with La Rochelle and they somehow pull off the win that they weren't supposed to. Like, 3 tough games in a row is going to take it out of most sides. And the fact that, like, now they have to play Bordeaux, and then if they win this, they have to play Toulon or Toulouse. Like, if anyone had the hardest road to the final, I would say it would be Munster. It shows you what it took for that World Cup win for the Box. Week after week without a break, says Jimbo. Although, in their case, for the Springboks, like, nothing against what they did, of course, but Rassie was very good with his rotation. And that's something that he did, I think, better than pretty much any other coach throughout that World Cup, was he had pretty much 2 set-up teams. So with that, he was able to just rotate it enough. And yes, there were a couple games where we went with very similar lineups. But yeah, very strategic in the way that he used his side and got the most out of most of the players. We get that game free next week on RTE, UFC free view in Ireland. Rassie is the best international coach in history. Says Rory, can the Highlanders beat the Chiefs next weekend? It's going to be a tough one, that is for sure. It's only then that I realised what a belter of a game Leinster versus Bordeaux would be. Or Bordeaux, I should say. And yeah, sadly, those 2 sides, for them to play, it would have to be the final. There's still another hurdle for them to get there. Looks like Jalabert is going to line up another 3-pointer here for Bordeaux after winning the penalty. Hey, says 10, welcome in. And Jalabert, he's missed it away to the side. Toulouse, Toulon, UBB and Leinster are basically a cut above all the others. And Toulon might not have squad depth, says Studs Race. And the interesting thing there is you've said Toulouse and Toulon, but only one of them can make it through to the quarterfinals. On the other side, the semi-finals. On the other side, there is, of course, Castra versus Northampton. That's why the Box rotate. Depth is key to winning comps. Rassie need the World Rugby referees to come to his aid. Got a bit stupid towards the end of the tournament, says Power Bite. And Blues women are facing the Australian Women's Champs, which I believe is the Waratahs if I am correct. I believe they bet the Reds, didn't they? And Ireland never will, says Rugby. Although you see some of those young Leinster Academy players coming up through the ranks at the moment, and give them 5 years and they might be right up there again. It's just about finding that next level of young talent up through the ranks. What a run that is from Jack Crowley. Moves up to 45 metres out from the Bordeaux line now. Wide cut-out pass from Tom Farrell. Finds Andrew Smith. Leinster will make the final before being tested, says Patrick. Although Northampton maybe could give them a challenge. I'm not sure about Castra in terms of what level they will be at for their one. Now Nankerville went to Crowley, who took it a little bit too casually there. Biel Barré trying to get over and managed just to find the ball off to Pete Samu. Puts in the fend 10 metres out from the line now, looking for the turnover was Andrew Smith. But now all Bordeaux have to do is get it out wide. They've gone for the cross kick, which almost took long enough. Oh, that's a deliberate knockdown from Munster, but it will be play on. In fact, no, now they've called it as the knock on here. But if it's a scrum fee for Bordeaux, why is it not play on more? And Cruise versus Blues. And it was the Crusaders playing next year. It's going to be Blues versus Crusaders next weekend. And Patrick Connolly, that's the luck of the draw. It's a genuine attempt. He got 2 hands to it. Knockdown equals yellow, although second hand normally takes away the chance of anything more. So it is just going to be the scrum. Will be interesting to see Northampton kick on this evening, says Jimbo. And French top 14, 1 to lose, 70 points. Bordeaux 65, Toulon 63, all after 20 games, says Tony in there. I think there was a team in the top 14 that actually surprised me a little bit with where they were ranked. It might have been Bayonne, who I was looking at on the top 14 standings. Yeah, they're in 4th, which I think is quite a surprise. Definitely when I looked at them versus the Bulls and the fact that the Bulls were able to beat them, I did wonder where they were ranked. I checked and they were a bit higher than I thought. We're getting our butt kick, says Dennis. What do you think of Barrett at Leinster? Looking better than he played for the Canes last season? Absolutely. He has really just taken on that role as a number 12 for Leinster and has just taken it to the next level. Gastre and their day are fantastic watch, but unsure. They care about the Heineken Cup, says Studs Rays. There's going to be a big scrum there from Bentame Funa and his Bordeaux forward. They have got the advantage. Maxime Luku, Pinot now skip past. Gets it on the outside. Beautiful offload out to Biel. Barré stepping inwards. Another pass and over the line and scores for Bordeaux, I should say. John Echigari does get another one. And they just are not letting up at all here, Bordeaux. Keep on finding that next level. Another try, says Rory, and France on fire, says Robert Wood. Crusaders all the way next weekend, says Matthew. The scrum, already Munster found themselves going backwards, which is why that early scrum penalty that they were able to win was maybe even more so a surprise. This could be embarrassing, says Patrick. Yeah, a bit of a slip there from Tom Farrell. Crowley looked like he had him handled until he wrestled his way over. Toulouse versus Leinster in the final will be a cracker, says Rugby. I don't even know if I'm guaranteeing Toulouse to make it to the final, though. Like, don't get me wrong. They're sitting pretty nicely in the top 14, but I do think that that DuPont impact, it could be the difference maker. They lost to Bordeaux as well, 32 points to 24 the last time that they played. So if that's how they sit and that's who goes head-to-head, could be a bit of an intriguing one. I'm just trying to find Bordeaux versus Lyon. The last time that took place, Toulon I should be looking for, rather than Lyon. Lyon versus Bordeaux. Bordeaux beat them too. Bordeaux cannot be underestimated. Nah, man, you haven't been watching them, says Rugby. I mean, don't get me wrong, still a really good side. And I feel like with Ramos in there, and they've got some brilliant backs. Juan Cruz Malera in there, the Argentine international. But you just wonder for Toulouse, the fact that they have already lost to Bordeaux this year, is that going to maybe impact them? Remember, Toulouse lost with a B team to Bordeaux last time, says Rugby. And it seems like another one-sided game, 50 plus for Bordeaux. Yeah, this combination out on the wing of Bordeaux having Biel Barré and Damien Pinot Like, they're just looking really strong at the moment. The last thing that they want from this game would be any sort of injuries. And we have got there for technicalities. Baseball has the weirdest rules. Says Xander. And we have got there, so if a player gets two hands on the ball and deliberate knock on, it's not a yellow, but one hand is a yellow. Rugby has weird rules. Yeah, there are some pretty weird ones in there. France, the best team in the world right now. Says Rugby, Yo Rugby Peach. What stadium is that in the background, Hamish? I went with the Stade de France. I know that this game isn't actually played there, but I didn't have much time in between the live streams, so I just chucked it in as the background. Can't see anyone beating them now. As in, like, World Cup-wise or international rugby-wise? Because, of course, we're beaten in the Six Nations, the French. No one quite getting that Grand Slam this year. I've got a really good crop of young talent coming up through the rankings. Do great steal from Diaby. Pinot goes back across to the left-hand side. It's Samu. Chance again to be able to go out wide here for Bordeaux. Yalbare. Called again. I've told to get out of it. Box are going to age out. And no Box are best in the world. Not aging out anytime soon, says Rory. And final top 14 last year, Bordeaux got slaughtered because they were knackered from 4 weeks of hard rugby. They were very motivated this year, says Studs Rays. Yeah, I think this year we've also seen Maxime Luku really come into his own. Because forever he has been known as the second best or third best halfback in France. But now, I mean, he's getting his chance to prove it week in, week out. How well he can link up with the rest of that back line. And we have got there, New Zealand wouldn't have a walk in the park when France come to New Zealand. Exactly right. Their B side that they're looking to send over is still going to really give them a challenge. And, you know, there have been people who have said maybe New Zealand should also play an experimental team. But I think New Zealand's experimental gets beaten by France's experimental side. Only 2 minutes remaining in this first half. Score currently sitting at 29 points to 3, 4 tries already for this French side in Bordeaux. Looks like Barron is very slow to make his way off the field here, so that'll bring Scannell onto the park. It's like a decent crowd here for an away game for Munster. Looks like quite a few fans have made the trip. Asking for the water off. Currently 26 points difference here. And has World Rugby commented anything about Rassi's proposal to have 2 refs at the scrum? Don't think so. I think that was only pretty recently that he did put the idea forward, wasn't it? So, you know, they'll probably give it about 57 working days and then they'll consider it and then probably say no. Munster fans travel about as well as any, says Bill. Yeah, looks like Niall Scannell here is now onto the field and straight away into the action. He will have to take this first line out for Munster. Waiting now for the call. Munster have been taking their time at line out, which has caused quite a bit of frustration from the fans, but that one's going to be overthrown by Scannell, claimed by Maxime Luku. Mofana now, pressure ball off to Jalabert. Luku goes across to Guido Petty. Be surprised if there is a kick coming in the near future from Bordeaux, although trying to get the turnover in the breakdown was Munster. Not quite successful. Has been told to stay on side. Oh, charge down of Maxime Luku's kick. Knock on the ground from Munster. I agree with you. But some great bot prospects coming through the school system / ranks, says Tonian. Now, that one's going to be bouncing awkwardly. Curls towards the touchline. I swear there's like a magnet in that ball. And it just seems to be going towards the touchline where Bordeaux need it too. Okay, Irish commentator not happy at the moment. He has said with the amount of experience that is out there on the field for this Munster team, the lineouts at the moment are unacceptable. They shouldn't be changing their plans. They should just be going with what normally works for them. Seems like there's been a lot of hesitation at line-out time. Rather than just firing that ball, and perhaps that is because of the skill of Bordeaux's line-out, that they do feel the pressure going to the front, and that one is stolen by Bordeaux when they just tried to go with a stock standard to the front. What a run that is from the big man, Pete Samu. Now off to the left again here, Jalabur, skip pass. Mofana does knock the ball on, 3 seconds remaining in the half. If there is a turnover, it will be a half-time. What a thrashing in the first half. Hope Castries versus Northampton is a better game so far this weekend. Heineken Cup has been turned, says Bill. Yeah, well, it's just been a bit of a mismatch, hasn't it, in terms of the rankings of the sides, or at least the way that the teams have played. This is hard to listen to. Munster players heads must be wandering. It's going to be a high tackle going against Bordeaux, so Munster can now work their way down the field a bit more, winning today. Our winner today is playing who next week, so they won't be playing next week for the Champions Cup. They've got a bit of a break. But in terms of what is coming up for these two sides, we will look at it at halftime, as I've got a couple pictures that I can pop up. But the next round of the Champions Cup, I'll quickly get you the dates. 25th of May will be the semi-finals. So, yeah, a little way away from those taking place. And then in terms of that final, we'll see it there. Final was taking place. Final was on the 25th of May. The semi-finals are on the 4th, 5th, and 3rd of May, or somewhere around there will be the weekend that they have it. Easy from the commentary box. Who calling the game says Suds Rays. I'm not actually too sure who the Irish commentator was. It's not the main guy that you hear for Ireland in the international matches, though. Looks like that's a wrap for Munster, and Leinster versus Bordeaux going to be fun, says Robin, and that's going to be another penalty going the way of Munster. Bordeaux just getting up a little bit too quickly there with Mofana. Once again, Munster just have to kick this one for the corner. They have to find another try. They're down by 19 at halftime. Of course, it is not ideal, but it would be better than being down by 26, what they sit at currently. Of course, if Munster are already fatigued, then this is going to make it even harder for them, having to play extra minutes in the first 40. A line-out throw here for Baron. Lineouts have not gone well since he has made his way onto the field, although they haven't gone well before he was on the field either. That one's gone to Peter O'Mahony. And again, it will be another advantage for Munster, just slowly working their way up the field. Crowley with the bounce pass out to Thacker Abrahams, tries his step and almost managed to sneak his way through before he's dragged down by Jansi van Rensburg. Now Crowley tries the cross kick. He didn't have a winger there. I'm not too sure who he was kicking it towards, but that is going to be a now maybe warning for Bordeaux for the amount of infringements that they have had in quick succession here. Bordeaux, sounds like they are about to get quite the talking to. And another coach going to be sacked after this game, says Xander. And think unless Bordeaux get some cards, we are done. And they have now got their last warning. I think the referee has just pretty much said to them, listen, any more of those, and someone is getting taken from the field. So that is good news for this Munster side. They will just go with a quick dab, passing it across. That's going to be held up, but I believe they've managed to get it ashort, or just out short, and now Alex Nankerville goes in for the try, getting through Bialbari. And Munster will get the try right at the end of the first half. Pete Samu was playing like a beast. He's been insane this matchup so far, looking outstanding. Nicely done by Nankerville to finish it off. He had Bialbari. Tried to stop him, but just sneaks through. And Munster now moves up to the 8 points. They've got a chance at 10 here if Crowley is able to get the conversion over. The try has been cleared by the refereeing. Did Bordeaux or Munster get a warning from the ref? It was Bordeaux. We did get that warning. Crowley using up extra seconds here. And does sneak it over. So they'll make the score at halftime 29 points to 10. Definitely more one-sided than Munster would have liked. But the benefit that they've got at the moment is it could have been much worse. Could have been down by the 26 like I mentioned. But so far we've seen the 4 tries from the French side, Bordeaux, compared to the 1 of Munster. In terms of a few of the other stats that we have seen, 88 metres gained for Munster in this game compared to the 245 of Bordeaux. Bordeaux have had more than double the carries of Munster, 64-30. Clean breaks 7-2. Defenders beaten 16-7. Offloads 9-1. These are all in favour of this Bordeaux side. They've had 61% possession. They've had 65% territory. And the tackle success at the moment of Munster is only 61%. The benefit that they've slightly got is Bordeaux's tackle percentage is only 67. So that means every third tackle that is being attempted is being missed at the moment for these two sides. I'd agree, Xander, 29-3 would be too tough psychologically. And 29-10 doesn't sound too bad. Still hope. And a good kick. Do you have a favourite club from Europe? Not necessarily. Like, I enjoy watching European rugby. I know that some people from the south seem to be avidly against it, but I think it's a great few competitions up there. It's a shame that we don't get to see the top 14 in New Zealand anymore, I will mention, just because like that was one of those competitions that used to be really entertaining to watch, the different style of rugby. Discipline at the moment, 7 penalties conceded by Bordeaux compared to the 4 of Munster. And they have now had their last warning as well. So that will be something to look at getting into the second 40 minutes. But looking now at the benches for these two sides. For Bordeaux, they've got some great players across the board. For Munster, probably a few more, I guess, more established names in terms of Stephen Archer, Niall Scannell, Connor Murray, as that number 21 could make a bit of an impact. But they're certainly going to need something big. 19 points down will not be easy to get back into. But if they score first in the second half, like that's the thing. The Bulls in their game up against Edinburgh, they were down by 14 at halftime. And they almost came back to win it. So if anything, that's a little bit of a confidence booster there. We have got their Munster score. First, after halftime, there will be hope. I need top 14. I watch top 14 replays in their website. Just need to create an account and log in. Is it straight after the game that they're up, Thuds Race, or is it normally after a day or two? Do let me know, but maybe I'll have to give it a look. Seeing as it's quite a tricky one to find here in New Zealand. Blows my mind that Nonu was playing top 14 rugby at 42 years old. There's Rory, and he had a couple of decent moments in his debut match for them. And does the last warning carry through to the second half? It certainly does. If Bordeaux give away any more penalties just out from their line, I wouldn't be surprised if the referee does reach into the pocket, which of course would put this Munster side right back into the contest. I did mention how we were going to be looking at what is to come for these sides. For Munster, next week they do have the Bulls, luckily at home, so they don't have to make that trip down to South Africa. And then after that, a week after that is, they will be playing up against Cardiff. Then for Bordeaux, they have got a game up against Pau, and then also La Rochelle. That is in 14 days' time. As you see, all of these times are in New Zealand, so that is why there's some pretty random times sitting there. The other quarterfinals that are still to take place, Northampton versus Castra, that is happening in around an hour and 30 minutes' time. Now, we aren't actually going to be covering that game. That is the only quarterfinal that I won't be doing for today. We have got Toulon versus Toulouse. I am covering that one tomorrow, starting at 2 a.m. New Zealand time. And we will be live for that match as well. In the chat, we have got Monday night New Zealand time. Designed to keep the games up for ages, says Studs Race. I might have to give it a look and see. Definitely with it getting closer to the playoff games. Of course, want to see who does take out that top 14 competition. In terms of that backline of Bordeaux, we have seen some great moments from Damien Pinot. Seen some decent runs from Mo Fun. He's had a couple years along the way, but still a very solid first half performance. And then also some brilliant work from Maxime Lucu and Jalabert to be able to just really control this backline, find the gaps in Munster's defence, which there have been a few, but I still, like, that's the thing. The tackle percentages do concern me for both teams getting into the second half of rugby because, you know, you look at 67% and you look at 61 or 63%. And, that's going to be a lot of chances to score tries, which is why Munster will still feel like they have half a chance in this game. But for them to be able to come back from here, they will have to pull off one of their biggest comebacks that they've had in recent time. Nonu was well known for being deep into his yoga, stretching fitness before it was cool, says Studs Ray. So it's probably one of the reasons that he's able to play as long as he can. And from the highlights of the first game for him at Toulon, at 42 years of age, he didn't look too bad. Yes, he looked like he had lost a little bit of a step in terms of pace, but he's still got his power, which I think Toulon will quite enjoy having. While we are at the halftime break, we might as well mention what games roughly we are going to be doing next week, ladies and gentlemen. For Super Rugby, there will be 5 matches. I don't think we're covering all of them from just memory, because there are 4 games taking place on Saturday. That'll be a bit of a brutal one, but Crusaders Blues on Friday night. I am going to be covering that match on the channel. Fiji and Roa versus Waratahs is the early kickoff in the afternoon. Moana Pacifica play the Brumbies at 4:35 p.m. New Zealand time. Chiefs Highlanders, the New Zealand Derby at 7:05, and then Force play the Hurricanes. That is at 9:35. Didn't know that about Nonu. Clearly benefited him, says Rory. And then in terms of the URC, there are going to be a few entertaining matchups. Edinburgh versus the Sharks. That is the early morning start on Saturday. Stormers versus Connacht. That is at 2 a.m. New Zealand time on Sunday morning. Bulls play Munster at 4:15. And then the Lions are playing on Saturday night up against Benetton at 11:45. So if we really wanted to, which I don't think I will end up doing, but there is potential of being able to do 7 games in a row. 14 hours, maybe even closer to 15 of commentary throughout that period. I think we're going to have to be a little bit strategic with what games we decide to do, though, because 14 hours is quite substantial. I mean, today we've done 8 and the voice is already starting to give way. But of those matches that I mentioned, ladies and gents, which game next week are you most excited for? We have currently got a little bit longer of this halftime break. Just looking at it, we've had about 9 minutes worth of the break already, so probably another 5 minutes or so before we do get back underway. Or Bordeaux, I think what they will want to do in the second half is once again just play a bit more of that territory game, as it was forcing Munster back into that uncomfortable area, and then just find a way of getting that turnover. Sharks game purely because they're my team, says Rory. I want to see Connacht save their season, says Jimbo. I definitely need that pump water sponsorship, mate, says Studs Race. Yeah, we definitely will if we're going to be talking that much. I think it's going to be the early week of May is also going to be hectic with the sevens on the cards as well. Speaking of sevens, the Challenge Sevens was actually taking place this weekend. Challenger Series Sevens. I'm sure that they were playing over this weekend. In Krakow, 11th to the 12th of April. Who managed to win that one? 11th of April, the opening day is there. The really annoying thing about the sevens, sadly, is they just don't really give a huge amount of information. So, there we go. That is what we needed to see. So, the information, ladies and gentlemen, South Africa, Kenya, Colombia, and Thailand will get, Argentina and Colombia will get the opportunity on the women's side for the early May draw. And for the men's, we do see Canada, Germany, Portugal, and Chile. So Samoa missing out, which is a massive one. And same with Japan. So it just shows how much of an impact it had for them missing out on the staying on the circuit. Are you watching the Women's Six Nations? Thanks from London, says John. I haven't actually caught a huge amount of it. I think what I'm going to do is after we get through this relatively busy period, I'm just going to watch all of the games during a couple of weeks just because they have the replays on Sky. So I'll be able to just find them all and enjoy them kind of back to back just so that I can follow the competition a little bit better. But yeah, I actually don't even know who's sitting where on that Women's Six Nations at the moment. I know that they're up to round 3 though, so getting closer to the end. I'm just going to quickly have a look on the Sevens website to see whether or not they have also confirmed the LA Sevens matches. No fixtures as of yet. Hopefully they announce those relatively soon so that we can start planning ahead. And Sharks game always, says Lilia B. The Sharks will be keen to get back in action because of the fact that they did have a rest week this matchup, or this weekend, which isn't exactly a bad thing. And tough watching the women. England have completely dominated our girls for years now, says Jimbo. Yeah, that Women's World Cup is not actually a mile away either. While we are at it, might as well do the Google. While we are waiting for the second half to get underway. Women's Rugby World Cup. The tournament, when is the first match? Friday, 22nd of August to Saturday, the 27th of September. So it isn't actually a mile away from that one taking place. Know that all the time zones for those matches are going to be pretty brutal for us here in New Zealand. 6:30 a.m. for that opening contest between USA and England. Australia versus Samoa is at 11 p.m. New Zealand time, and then most of the other ones are happening throughout the nights. New Zealand's opening contest up against Spain, then they play Japan, and then they do play up against the Irish. Are Sharks fans still okay with Plumtree as coach? Says Studs Race. Now, I believe we are very close to the second 40 minutes getting back underway for this contest. If you haven't already, do let me know your in-score predictions for this matchup. Do you feel like the comeback is on? Or is it just too much of a mountain to climb here for this Munster side? I'd like to think that they'd at least score a couple tries throughout the second half, though. Like, you know, 2 minimum, just to give them a bit of confidence. Of course, they only scored themselves 1 throughout that first half, but I do think they've got more in the tank. Hopefully we do get to see it here. They're just showing the Formula E. I'll have to ask Isaac whether or not he watches that. I know he watches a lot of the Formula One. I'm not sure whether or not he is an e-car kind of guy, though. Anyone who does watch the Formula One, do let me know. Do you also watch the e-Formula One or just the Formula One in general? We have there Chris, says Luke, and no, Bordeaux will win this comfortably, says Rory. And there as well. Yeah, it's going to be very tough for Munster. Like, don't get me wrong, even if they get within 20, it would be quite an achievement, I would say. It looks like they are walking out of the tunnel. Burn looks absolutely exhausted here, and it will get only worse once the second half does get back underway. Munster, they started this match so well. Gavin Coombs with a couple barnstorming runs, 50 points to 31. If Munster can withstand the first 10 minutes, could make it interesting, says Studs Rays. But yeah, like, that first chance, all they had was the knock on. If they had scored that, who knows how different the scoreline would have sat, and whether or not maybe that would have been the try that they needed to feel like they had a good chance here. And hello again, I'm back, says Ruth. Welcome back, Ruth. Crowd still getting behind their side. Wonderful to see the Frenchies ahead, says Ruth. Damien Pinot, the man who did score the first try of the match, wouldn't mind another one to his name. I think it was it the game up against the Sharks where Bordeaux just kept on scoring time after time after time? He got himself maybe 5 tries. Was it that game? I'm mixing it up. Welcome back, Ruth. Losing RU was ruthless, says Rory. Is, I guess, a very factual statement, Rory, in that regard. Now, second half just about to start. 40 minutes to try and turn around. When Tyburn looks exhausted, that's when he plays his best rugby, says Mark. Just check him with the TMO, make sure that he can hear him. It's going to be good to go. Yep, it was that game, says Lilia B. Yeah, probably a terrible memory that I've just brought up, Lilia. I do apologise for that one. Jalabert. Ready to kick this one off. Hamish, the shot was empty. Got my cheese, bread and crisps. It's easy to start well against a great open play team until the game opens up, Says a Jimbo, but kicked off now, Jalabert. And we're ready for the second half of this quarter final. Currently down by 19. And Gavin Coombs gets his first carry in, I would say, 30 minutes at the start of the second half. Now, back across, Craig Casey goes to Ollie Jaeger. Looks like now they are ready to go for the box kick. Craig Casey rolls it back. Kick it high off his left boot. Luku is the Ponce replacement. Of course, you're a fan. Says Tonian. Munster actually managing to keep their ball. Calvin Nash going up for it and claiming it. The ball is still in, says the ref. Being told to use it, Gavin Coombs with the pick and go just to keep that ball in play rather than him having a scrum turnover. They go for the counter ruck, were Bordeaux. Now this time Casey will roll it back again. Seems like they're just slowly trying to work their way up the field, playing a bit of that territory game, and the penalty does go the way of Munster. And always exciting, Luku Dupont's understudy, says Ruth. A little bit of obstruction there coming from Bordeaux, and it is against Diaby, so Munster getting the start to the half that they were after. An early penalty, moving their way down the field that little bit more here. And it does go into touch from Crowley. A good kick gets them to about 12 metres out from the line. And IRB well and truly taking out Calvin Nash. Maybe because he was able to take the last one, they were a bit concerned about him. Line out now for Niall Scannell. And it's scarred me for life. Says Lilia B, nicely taken by Tyg Byrne. Now once again, rolling towards the try line. I'm being told to use it once. Craig Casey slapping the back. He wants that ball out of there. Nankerville did score the try, and it's a forward pass from Munster. Is there more games today? We are going to be covering the match between Toulouse and Toulon. That has taken place at, it will be 4 p.m. South African time tomorrow, or 2 a.m. New Zealand time. Any final score? I do think Bordeaux has still got at least 3 more tries in them. And I want to say Munster can get themselves 2, but it's going to be very tough to do. Munster Monsters need some teeth, says Ruth. A scrum feed of this second half. Only sitting 3 minutes in. And every time that they go to the scrum, it is considered some sort of break, I guess you could say. As 3:10 a.m. too early, late for mango ice cream. There is never a bad time for mango ice cream. So you absolutely go for it. But are you going back to sleep afterwards is probably a good question I should have asked. Not my ice cream, but it's in my freezer. That's where it gets a little bit more tricky because, you know, someone's going to be sad not to have their mango ice cream. So if you're willing to take that punishment, go for it. Pick downfield from Jalabert. Munster taking it inside of their own half with Thacker Abrahams. Running 40s, almost gone straight through Bordeaux. Really struggling to drag him down. Craig Casey goes across to Ollie Jaeger. Now Crowley. Trying to find a little bit of width in their play here, Munster. Sold, says Suds Race. It's always mango ice cream time, always. No, Hamish, even if it ends in a loss, hopefully Munster play a much better second half. Says Zero Connection. Exactly right. If they can come out and still show intent and look like a side that are trying to win this, I think their fans will be relatively happy. Like going to Bordeaux up against Bordeaux is always going to be a challenge. Definitely after knocking out a side that were definitely right up there in terms of the favourites of this competition last week. It's eventually going to be taking that toll. Can't get so far behind the rest of the teams that expect to win these fixtures. Munster will be content. Says Jimbo. Have sheets mangoes to have sweet dreams. Says Roof. Now popping this one up to the left-hand side. Almost able to go through. Crowley looking for the risky offload. They will go back for another offside penalty against Bordeaux. So actually starting the second half in a little bit of a similar fashion to how they ended the first one. And that is with giving away penalties. Bought a Whitaker's white chocolate with mango and coconut today, and it was delicious. Says Rory. Is any punishment worth mango ice cream? Mango ice cream can be pretty good. So maybe. 5 minutes into the second half. Already much better start to the half from Munster. They will now be 5 metres out from the line with a rolling maul chance. Scannell just drying his hands again. Munster a little bit slow getting set at each of their lineouts, and I think that is to just try and throw off the rhythm of Bordeaux, but the Bordeaux side have got themselves the lineout still. Munster showing gonads. Says Robert, what game's looking for next week? Looking forward to next week, I assume that is. There are plenty of them. There's a couple New Zealand derbies, Crusaders versus Blues. I think Sharks, Edinburgh. It's going to be an intriguing game. Same with Bulls versus Munster. I think Abrahams couldn't quite decide who to pass to, so in the end he actually passed to absolutely no one. Wrappers off the ice cream, got to deal with consequences now. Says Studs Rays. What type of ice cream is it, Studs Rays? Like what brand of mango ice cream? I have to get myself some. Going off to the right-hand side, Nash now. Oh, that's a big shot coming in on him. And another pickup line. Are you Jamaican? Because you're Jamaican me crazy. Says Rory. Better than Caramel Magnum. Oh, nah, Magnums, they're pretty good, I do have to say. So it would depend on the mango ice cream, but like those Caramel Magnums have got a soft spot in my heart, and they have also made a soft spot in my stomach because of how many of them I have had. But now, going to be another penalty for Munster. Bordeaux, they are right on the verge of getting a yellow card here. Oh no, just waiting for a number to confirm. So this might actually be a yellow card. Oh, that's a big shot there from number 5. Is this going to be the yellow card? It is the yellow card. 200th cap for him as well. So a big congratulations to him, but now he gets a 10-minute rest. Mango, coconut, and lemon ice cream, says Ruth. Now Chazot will make his way off the field. Magnum, peppermint crisp, says Ruth. Get Crowley. Going to kick this ball into touch again. It'll be about 15 metres out. Chocolate ice cream, says Patrick. Yeah, just coming through and hitting him far. Probably lucky to just get the yellow, to be fair. A Magnum, the creme de la creme of our ice cream, says Zero Connection. Oh, nice take from the referee. Told them to just wait, though. Nyabi has been taken off for Gazzotti. And Tip Top, only the best in our house. Tip Top. So what's the mango one? Is it like a tub or is it? No, you said the wrapper, so it must be like an individual type of mango situation. Oh, stolen again by Bordeaux. And line out time. They have been reading them like a book here. Munster around the halfway line do take possession. Thacker Abrahams passes across now to Andrew Smith. Now, penalty off the ball stuff from Munster, diving through, leaving their feet in the breakdown. And Hearn, the man who's penalised. It's just gone from bad to worse. No, that time, sorry, John Hodner, I should say. Yeah, just not quite working for Munster at all. No, it's out of the tub. Wasn't expecting the Spanish Inquisition, says Studs Race. Well, the thing is, mango ice cream, you hooked me in. I'm now very interested. I was close to Googling Tip Top Mango. Tell you what, we're going to. Mango ice cream. What does it look like? And where can we get one? Looks all right. Mango Lassie, is it? Or the mango and coconut one? Might be one of those two, I would say. Mango Lassie is it's bloody spectacular. I'm going to have to give it a go. I do love me a mango in general. Yeah, frozen yogurt. Oh, it's frozen yogurt. Sounds good. I'm going to go to the supermarket later today. Another penalty goes the way of Bordeaux. They're slowly just making their way further and further up the field now. Come on, boys. French toast with crispy ice cream. Making a man go crazy, says Rory. You love a pun, don't you, Rory? You've got plenty of them from today. I do have to give you that. Munster almost able to get that ball. And it does actually look like Jalabert is calling for a kicking tee here. So that to me says for Bordeaux, they're looking to get outside of that 21-point margin, but also looking to just close out this game. They don't have to do anything absolutely crazy here. They're well and truly in control. I think I enjoy your play on words, says Rory. This one will be 47 metres out, though, and he's only sitting 66% accuracy for Jalabert today. And he will see sitting even less than that now as that kick has missed away to the side. Keeps the score at 29 points to 10. But it does still use up a minute of that Bordeaux yellow card, so it isn't the end of the world for Bordeaux there. A couple more changes are being made here for Munster. Looks like now the experienced head of Stephen Archer. 300 caps. 300. I thought that the guy who brought up 200 caps was doing well. Then another 100 and you get Stephen Archer. That's going to be a knock on from Mofana. Not his first of the match. I know Mani has made his way off. That is for Ahern. But needs another try. You have me at experienced head, says Rory. Now, it's going to be the scrum chance for Munster. I don't think they'll be a mile off getting Connor Murray out onto the field as well here. Just to keep the squad rotating. At the end of the day, they don't want to tire out anyone too massively. They do still have that game up against the Bulls next week that they have to deal with. And please hit that likes button and subscribe. See the review. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated. And we've got plenty more streams coming up in the near future, including next week, URC and Super Rugby. Now that one's gone down. Going back across to this left-hand side here. Looping around nicely for Munster. Big shot on Calvin Nash. Tom Farrell goes with the pick and go. Maxim Luku misses the tackle. Uncharacteristic of their man. Casey goes across to Nankerville. Tries to cut out pass. Goes to Andrew Smith. Winning the foot race. Waits for the bounce of the ball and scores the try for Munster, which doesn't quite get them back into the game, but it gets them that little bit closer. And French doing well. DuPont is going to be happy. Says Ruben, 300, says Lilia B. 300 is correct, yes. Come on, Munster, make this interesting, says Studs Rays. Yeah, beautiful link-up play there from Munster. And 300 what tries? No, 300 caps for Stephen Archer. So massive amount of experience. The man is more experienced than some sides have caps in general. And Andrew Smith, the grubber in behind. Damien Pinot beat him for pace, and he knew it straight away. He wasn't going to be able to get to that one. We're asking for the forward pass from Alex Nankerville. Andrew Smith, still able to score it. The Stags come back, keeping it up. Now Crowley strikes it well. It's coming back, but it hits the post. So the score will remain at 29 points to 15. 14 points difference. 2 converted tries would get them back into it. And yes, Rory is correct, says Rory. 28 minutes remaining here. Is there somehow a chance of another massive Munster upset? They have to work extremely hard to get there, and they still need to stop Bordeaux from scoring any other form of points, or else I just don't think they'd have enough time remaining. Be able to make the most of it. Jean Klein has dropped that ball. It's gone through his hands, but it does go backwards. Bordeaux now with the counter ruck. Maxime Luku picks it up. Bial Barry goes for the grubber kick, dead by Casey, but they will go back for another penalty. This time in favour of Bordeaux. So Munster won't be a mile off their last warning as well here, I would think, for the amount of penalties that they have given away. Hamish has a distinguished, experienced mustache, says Ruth. Now, do Bordeaux go for the 3 again? It would give them the lead of more than the 14 points. So it does look like that is once again Is it the tactic? Yes, it is. That'll use up another minute of that Bordeaux yellow card. Very interesting. Says Robert. And Matthew, I know you're always there. Says Ruth. And there as well. 30 seconds. He will use up probably all of that to be able to take this kick. And Bordeaux, come score now, please, says Ruth. Jalibert, in fact, doesn't use up the full time. That is a little bit surprising. Maybe by using up that extra time, he's actually been throwing himself off. Like, let's be honest, he's been using up, let's say, 55, 60 seconds and missing more times than not. Now, going to be 32 points to 15, which does mean Munster, let's be honest, there's going to be another 3 from Bordeaux at some point. So Munster need 3 converted tries to be able to get this one. Perchard has made his way on, as well as Falatia for Ben Funa. And Ben Funa just giving the referee a handshake. Nice touch from him as he makes his way off the field. As always, class act, that man. And being from Munster is painful sometimes, says Mark B. It would have been absolutely incredible, though, last week, getting that win over La Rochelle. I'm sure the celebrations would have gone long into the night. Maxime Luku now, a bit loose at the back from Thaka Abrahams. Just doesn't quite clean it up cleanly. Used cleanly a bit too much there, I would say. Now, going back across Casey in behind. Crowley knock on from Alex Nankerveld. And now breaking through the middle. Jansi van Rensburg. Like he was running in slow motion. The advantage is over. And the penalty, double blow the whistle. Munster, they are in trouble. Someone will be going to the bin. Maxime Luku, he was signalling to have a card. That's through Mark B. I don't have a bike, avocado. Says Rory. Yep. It's another decent one there, Rory. Gone to the pocket. You call to Hamish, says studs raised, and 2 more days until WrestleMania, Hamish. Las Vegas. Is it 2 days or is it 12 days? When is it? It is. Wait. WrestleMania 2025. 19th and 20th of April. So next weekend when we're going to get to see it. A line out throw here. I see taken by Bordeaux. Only a couple meters out from the line, and they have got themselves another penalty advantage. Mofana drops shoulder and runs it straight. Staff and local spa. I didn't know it's raining so hard. They saw me with my drenched raincoat and asked if it was raining. I said no. I always looked like this, dripping wet. And Luku, the man. Oh, inside ball doesn't quite link up, but they will go back again for the penalty. And here's Hamish week early, says Blues Nate. Yeah, there's a lot of sport and stuff in general that is happening. Like UFC happening tomorrow. And then the week after, oh no, in fact, it's 2 weeks' time that we get to see Ian Gary taking on Carlos Prates. But, yeah, 314 UFC looks like it should be a good card. Luku is a class act. He certainly is. Like, I think a lot of people have underrated him. But for now, anyway, while he's getting more opportunities, definitely for France in the future, he's going to really climb a lot of people's rankings. Now rolling maul again here. Jansi van Rensburg has been taken off the field for Bordeaux. Maxime Luku joining onto the back of that rolling maul. Munster trying their best to defend it. They will fall short on their back for Bordeaux, and that is brilliant defence from Munster, and they needed that to stay in the game. And a double blow of the whistle, a little bit of push and shove here between Guido Petty, who does not shy away from a bit of push and shove. Meanwhile, there is an injured player on the ground, which was why Munster was trying to push them away. And Guido Petty didn't quite understand that, maybe a language barrier. Okay, referee just saying, give us a sec. I think they're actually going to be checking this one. Oh, so they think that Wycherley has collapsed it by the sounds of it, but they also want to check that one. Pinot gets in the face of the ref, not a fan of that. says Studs Ray. Okay, so touch judge on this near side has said that he believes number 1 has collapsed. So the referee has just said, I'm not sure if there was a grounding about a minute ago. And now he said, I saw a grounding and it was over the line. So I just need to see that again. So the TMO is going to be checking this one. The decision that he initially gave was this, held up. They are just going to be checking this to see whether or not there was an initial grounding. Oh, that's the ball down there, isn't it? Okay, they're just saying that they're not sure whether or not it is over the line. Okay, referee has just said there he saw clear grounding that the ball was on the line or past the line. So if the ball was down, it's a try. It's going to be a try. I'm not sure what made the referee change his mind because only a minute ago he went held up. But it's a try for Bordeaux. I've been to a few. Says Patrick. Money must have hit his bank account, says Rory. And that's again, says Suds Rays. Yeah, I don't see a comeback here for Munster now after that try was scored. Chandler versus Pimlet, Lopez versus Volkanovski in around 12 hours' time. Don't usually watch UFC, but these fights may be interesting, says Tonian. Yeah, that fight between Paddy and Chandler, like that one's a hard one to predict because, you know, there's a lot of mutual respect there, but at the same time, I feel like when they get in there, they're going to try and make it fight of the night. Ref, great bunch of lads. Says Mark B. That one's going to be missing away to the side, so not the best kicking day for Jalabert. That's going to make the score now 37 points to 15, a 22-point difference. SummerSlam 1992, I was 10. At it, Bulldog versus Bret Hart. There's Patrick. What's the list of men of the match so far? I would say that Luku is up there. Pete Samu had an absolutely insane start to this game, so I would say he will probably win it. And then also, I mean, Pinot's had a couple good moments, but I do think Samu or Luku will be more likely to get it. That's it. It's over. Says Michael. A few more changes are being made as well for Bordeaux. So another 22 minutes left. They are in action next week up against Pau. They want to try and keep some players fresh for that match too. Now kick downfield by Bordeaux. It's going to go into the 22 of Munster. That might have been a knock-on from Crowley. Yes, it was. And they get about an 80-metre territory gain. Game over, says Patrick. And 7 quick tries from Munster. We have him. Let's go, boys. Says Mark. And that's going to be a frustrating one for Munster. Small knock-on. That does have big implications for youngsters. I'll look up WrestleMania 3. Macho Man versus Ricky the Dragon. You are welcome. Says Studs Race. Now 21 minutes on the clock. This is where we could see that yellow card of Munster really end up costing them too. Like I said, they had 3 players back there and the ball just going through the hands of Crowley. Not what you want. Now, the scrum feed. Already front row starting to stand up, but they have managed to regain their positioning. It's Samu going off the back, goes across to Damien Pinot. Samu definitely deserves it. Says Matthew. Gave our tickets to our friends in the US. I was in LA 2 months ago. Says Blues Nate. A great performance in that Mania 3 match. And now penalty goes the way of Munster. Getting over the ball, no clear release. Going against Bordeaux. It was Sean O'Brien who did manage to get the penalty in his favour. We're into the last quarter of this contest now. The job is not done. And there is still quite a bit to go. Honestly, no basic mistakes also kill us, or always kill us, says Mark B. I might go to one of European. And time for camembert cheese melted on toast. Sounds pretty decent. I am slightly craving a cheese toasty. So I might end up having one of those after the match, or that's going to be overthrown. The Munster lineout has been terrible in this game, and that is putting it lightly. Luku going off to the man who was yellow carded a little bit earlier on in the contest, Luku. And back across here for Bordeaux. Just getting one more try would well and truly cement it. It's already pretty cemented, though, to be fair. My sister's BFF, my sister's BFF, he's Lyra Intercontinental Champ, or has Lyra Intercontinental Champ, I think that is. Munster is so inconsistent. Says Bokang and yes, cheese toasty. I went too early on the rice, on the ice cream. Cheese toasty, it would go well at 4 a.m. in the morning. Now, it's 19 minutes left. Looks like Gavin Coombs just getting a bit of strapping around his ankle. In the name of cheese and rice, amen, says Rory. And French Toast Amos, any toasted cheese is so good. Lyra Intercontinental Champ. And went to the Royal Rumble, Patrick. Was massive crowds, atmosphere, or awesome atmosphere. Lyra was she tough. And Ollie Jaeger not looking impressed at the moment. Neither is Peter O'Mahony or the experience of Jean Klein. They just haven't fired in this match, unfortunately, for Munster. And don't get me wrong, they've had some good moments, but Bordeaux have just looked in control. Commentator there just saying, how do you not fix your line out after 60 minutes? We are the worst. Pay for a hooker who can throw a line out at this stage, says Bokang. There's going to be another line out throw here for them. So, they just have to. Well, it's a bit late to have the consistency. You need to make Hamish a lekker braai when he visits South Africa, says Tony. And the thing is, it might be sooner than I think, the visit to South Africa. I've been tempted to have a wee look and see what I can do. And I probably would go to a few different places over there, but I'll probably stay for around a month if I could. But of course, the budget does not extend to that as of yet, so there's going to have to be some hard work happening in the next few months if I do decide to do it before the international rugby season, which would be the plan, just so that I can come back and do more streams. Now, Craig Casey. I'm back across to the right-hand side. Quick hands from Tygburn. I get you, Mark. Says Bokang, and that's going to be dropped. Yes, Blues next, says Patrick. Now back into the hands of Maxime Luku around the halfway line. Kicked him behind from Jalabert. Bounce goes near the sideline. Thacker Abrahams. Two-man tackle on him. And g'day, Hamish. I have revised my opinion on this game, and I believe that Bordeaux will win. Does Curry Cup line up with Rugby Championship, says Suds Rays. I'm not actually too sure when the Curry Cup does start. Curry Cup dates. I think last time we checked it wasn't confirmed, but what do we got here? Moved to early 2025 for round one fixtures, but we've already had that. Yeah, I'm not actually too sure when it does take place. Will be played from July to the end of September is somewhere that I've just seen, so that might be some overlap with the Rugby Championship. Handling errors and Munster are just a given, says Mark. It's going to be another line out here, this time for Connor Sarr. And it looks like Craig Casey got a bit of a bleeding nose. He's frustrated with the medics. Doesn't look like a huge amount of blood is coming out of it. Maybe just more of a annoying one for Craig Casey. But we'll have to do a South African tour with tests and a couple of Curry Cup matches, says Suds Rays. And Rocket Science Bordeaux winners. There's Ruth in there as well. And Hamish, visit Lesotho. When you are in South Africa, it's literally inside the country. Beautiful place. Says Power Bite. Does it? I'd assume it would have an airport or something, does it, Power Bite, that you can fly to Hamish, have you ever visited Kruger Park or Kruger National Park? It's on my wish list. I have not, no. Laura smashed out Dakota Kai from New Zealand. Come on, Kiwi girl. There's Blues Nate thrown in now by Bordeaux. Luku goes across to the left-hand side. Now chance again, little kick in behind, well claimed by Munster. A bit of a poor pass from Andrew Smith, and Biel Barre almost decided to go quickly, and she did, says Patrick. This last 20 minutes is going to feel like an eternity. It feels like about 10 minutes ago that we said we're into the last quarter. And at the moment, we're only 3 minutes into that last quarter of play for this one. They've said just a good start to this match for Lamothe. Will make his way off now. Dakota, very talented performer, says Patrick. Now Sada throw it in. Kevin Coombs, he's also been taken off the field. That is by Alex Kendallin. Down. Do a knee for a second there for Bordeaux. About 10 metres out, and again it's going to be dragged down by Munster. This might be another yellow card here for this Munster side. Now looking for the cross kick from Gelebeur. Pinot dives on it, but does just go dead. And Munster just lacking firepower to make UBB defence work harder, and punters must be frustrated, says Bokang. Although, to be fair, Bordeaux were favourites heading into this game, so I guess what has happened is what people did expect. But Munster maybe would have liked to be a bit more competitive in terms of the outcome of this game. I do still think Bordeaux have one or two more tries in them too. Right, last time before a yellow card, says the referee there. Hi, Hamish, Lesotho. Might have an airport by now, but it's a short drive from Bloemfontein and the Free State and Peter Maritzburg and Natal. It's just a short drive away. So this is going to sound like a terrible question because, of course, I don't know my geography too well of South Africa, but where is Peter Maritzburg compared to Durban? Is it in Durban or is it... Because I know that Durban, is it the state rather than the city? I don't know. I'm really going to have to do some research before I go over, aren't I? Our Munster just lacking the basics, says Mark B. And Hamish, you're doing brilliantly there. Thanks. Great games today, says Roof. Rolling maul again here for Bordeaux. Any more penalties against Munster? And in fact, I think they did actually get a yellow card for that last one. I do see they have now got too close to the line for Mofana. Now Luku across to Biel Barre. Just short yet again. Looking both ways. Maxime Luku goes across. Close to getting that one. All right, Munster have been told to roll away. Another penalty advantage. Durban is coastal city of KwaZulu-Natal. Says Rory. One moment, I am about to sneeze. There's another blow of the whistle from the ref. He has just said that they were on the ground playing the ball, so that is, of course, not allowed. And I Hamish, both cities are in Natal. Peter Maritzburg is inland from Durban, which is a big coastal city, says Powerboy. And coastal region, Hamish, says Roof, and Bordeaux were definitely favourites. After the Ulster performance, disappointing that Munster didn't fare better. So far, it was very much inland. It is its own country instead of South Africa, says Rory. And Munster defending their hearts out. Yeah, they are trying in this game. Like, they do deserve some credit for the fact that they just don't want to give up. But when it's not your day, it's not your day. And it just hasn't been here. It looks like Bordeaux are once again taking on the 3 points. Happy enough, just ticking down the clock. Natal pronounced Natal. Natal. Hopefully. Now, using up every second that he can, Gelebeur, and this one has gone over, making the score now 40 points to 15. Currently a 25-point margin. Lesotho pronounced Lesotho. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to work on those pronunciations as well, aren't I? Craig Casey has made his way from the field. Connor Murray will make his way on. I believe Munster are back to 14, but still another 7 minutes remaining of the second yellow card that was in play. Yes, that's the one. Here's Rory. Bordeaux. Oh, thought about going to the short side, but the ball has come out the side, which means Connor Murray can now go across to the left-hand side, looking to fire it out wide. Nankerville slowly making meters. Lesotho, as an enclave country, completely surrounded by country South Africa. There's Tonian, now Andrew Smith, passes on the outside to Thaka Abrahams. Murray, Crowley. Isn't looking bad for Munster. They're actually moving it quite nicely. Beautiful sell of the dummy from Kendall, and that is a deliberate knockdown. I would almost argue could have been a penalty try too. We tried Thuds Razor. This is such a bridge too far. It's going to be another yellow card this time for Bordeaux. And they're just checking to see whether or not there was cover. I think they might get a little bit lucky and they'll say yes, but that looked like a perfect try-scoring opportunity there for Munster. Oh. First, it's a yellow card for a knock-on, so that would insinuate that there is a chance that we also get to see this one go to something more severe. So, was there enough cover defence? Is the question. Come on, give us a Pinot try. They just need the angle to be able to catch it. Now, it didn't look good initially. I'd say that Mofana and Jalabert probably would have had a crack at the guy. What's your year of birth? 1999. Snuck in just before 2000. Financial disparity in Euro rugby are beginning to impact the HC quarterfinals. Says Suds Race. Yeah, I do think that Mofana would have been able to cover. Saw Tom Farrell also slip over himself. Okay, possible try, not a probable try by the sounds of it. And good, yes, there's Rory, an interesting matchup. Trying to shine, says Patrick. Ref crapping it, says Jimbo. Yeah, they're looking at this one 50 times, which normally when they look at it so many times means that the decision that is correct doesn't end up being made. I'm like the old guy here, 1982. Says Patrick. And on ref, says Mark. Our French get away with things at home, says Sean O'Farrell. Oh, okay. It's going to be a penalty try. Okay, Bordeaux are saying they had 3 men back there to cover it, but honestly, from that far out, it is always hard to give a penalty try. Jalabert is not happy. That will be the 7 points to Munster, now putting them 40 points to 22. Every top winger is scoring there, says Jimbo. Don't worry, Patrick, our ages are completely out of our control, says Rory. You're a genius, Tonian, says Rory there too. Another change being made for Bordeaux. 12 minutes remaining in this match. Munster, they would need 3 tries to be able to win this contest, plus converting them. But it is far from over as Munster now look like they're starting to find a little bit of momentum. They go through another gap. They're playing against a 14-man Munster. 2 passed out wide. Going to Andrew Smith. Man, just to flick it back up and keeps the ball alive. Tom Farrell goes off to Wycherley. As a Munster fan, if Leinster don't win this year, it's a joke. Says Mark B. Now breaking through again. Here comes Alex Nankerville. Fires it in behind. He didn't go to Murray as it would have been close to a forward pass. Murray joining that breakdown incorrectly. Also playing the ball on the ground there. They've had either penalty go against them. Now passed out wide. That one's going to be forward. And I'll be 38 on the friendliest and most Aussie sounding day of the year, May 8th. Oh, mate, says Rory. The gaps are starting to open up now. I just logged on. Wasn't expecting the score, says Robert. Been a relatively high scoring one. They are just talking about that Connor Murray breakdown. And still young lad, my oldest bro, 87 era, WWE all his life. So here's a Blues Nate. And that's the one slightly sad thing from like the wrestling side of things is the fact that the WWE network now doesn't exist because they had all the old matches. So he probably was able to look back through those times. I remember the year 1982. Always grateful for your coverage. Not much, but hopefully this can go towards your South African trip. Thank you very much, Zero Connection. It is greatly appreciated for your generosity. I mentioned about it earlier on for the Challenge Cup game that we did cover on the channel. We did pay the conversion of €7.99. So we've been dealing a lot in euros today, which is strange for us here in New Zealand, but yeah, greatly appreciated for your generosity. You'll be quite sad to hear, never watched Futurama for myself, although I haven't watched a lot of things, so I think that's probably not too surprising. WCW has all the live wrestling on YouTube. Says Mark B. I think they're slowly adding more of it too, aren't they? They're slowly catching up. Same with WWE Vault, their YouTube channel. It's put on a lot of the old ones in. Netflix on WWE, says Patrick, and nothing compares to the Attitude Era. And unlikely for Munster to get 3 more tries, says Sean. Very nice of you, Zero. Here's a Rory in there too. But 10 minutes now left on the clock. And your legend says Blues, Nate. It's going to be the scrum feed for Bordeaux. And the Vault channel mate says Mark B. Right, they have got the gap dealt with. You French fans holding up their baguettes. It's not an innuendo for something. They have literally got bread in the stands. In fact, that was the Munster fans had their bread out. But now, fed in for Bordeaux, and they will just kick this one downfield. We've had a lot of the second half dealt with less than 15 players on the field for both sides, in fact. Throughout the second 40-minute period, a decent clearing kick for Bordeaux, and now the line-out throw. Innuendo, says Rory. In fact, no, sorry, it is going to be Bordeaux's line-out throw, I should say. So Connor Sarr put this one in. And, stolen by Munster. Now, that is a surprise, as they haven't had too many good moments when it comes to stealing that possession. Only not at line-out time. Connor Murray has played. I think referee says no to the penalty request of Murray. Back to the left-hand side again here. Crowley goes across to Tyburn. I don't think UBB will win the tournament out. I'll be honest, first half, and definitely that first about 25 minutes or so, I thought absolutely. Second half, they haven't looked as clinical, but the thing is, they haven't really had to at the same time. Like, they took their foot off the gas, which is when they were deciding to take their threes rather than going for the sevens. Like, they were happy enough with the lead that they had. So, in a closer game, maybe we see them continue to attack. But in this one, they've kind of just taken the second half, as well as some of the first half, as it's a bit of a stroll, which, I mean, is pretty rough on Munster. Looks like they are going short side now. Kicked cross, and that will be the try for Andrew Smith. And that is sometimes what happens when they underestimate this Munster side. I think Munster was still on the high from La Rochelle. Says Sean, come on, Munster. Says Studs Ray. And also, for that exact reason, they won't win it. Says Jimbo, in a structured game, Bordeaux get caught out. Says Mark B, and can you tell me about the menu, please? The men, I please, none of your business. Says Rory. Are you looking these up, Rory, or are these all just in the back of your mind, ready to say for an occasion? Good finish from Andrew Smith, making the score now 40 points to 27. So actually going to be a relatively similar score to what Bordeaux had last week up against Ulster. 7 minutes now left on the clock. I've just had the realisation, ladies and gents. 7 minutes, 2 converted tries. Munster win this game. Even if they miss a kick, they would also still win this contest. So it's like, it's not actually over just at this point in time if Bordeaux don't sort their stuff out for the remaining moments. Munster are going to run out of time, says Barry. It seems that way, but if they get another try within the next couple of minutes, which was similar to what we saw in terms of the run that they had straight after getting the kickoff. But chance here for Maxime Luku to be able to kick it off. Red card. Says Barry. Nicely taken by Munster. Back across to the left. McCann's Tyg Burn. Moving forward that little bit further. Connor Murray. Going off to Crowley. Oh, that's a high one. And that is going to be the penalty. And it's a yellow card for the man who already got one. So it will be the red now for him, but he will not return in this game. And Bordeaux are playing with 13. Personal note team has put pressure on Bordeaux, says Sean. My family said it at every restaurant now, says Rory. And his red says Jimbo. So yeah, the red card for their big experience number 5. Second half has taken forever. I think UBB is already mentally in the sheds. But the thing is, now they've got 5.5 minutes of at most of it playing with 13. They've given Munster a massive chance. Oh, beautiful run from Archer. Yeah, they've given them a chance to get back in. That was close to a turnover for Bordeaux. In fact, very unlucky for Pichard to not get it. Now drop ball from Munster. Was it 4? No, ref says backwards. And it's going to be play on again. Extra time and then pins, says Barry. Likeliness not hugely likely in this one, as for them to get 11 points would mean that they've missed a conversion, and they've also decided to take 2 threes at this stage of the match, in which case they should have just continued trying to get the win. Now looking for the offload, gets it to Thacker Abrahams, and very close to the touchline. And they do go into touch. Thanks, Barry, says zero connection. And take that, Barry, says Patrick. In there as well. And thanks, Sean, says zero connection, and also extra time penalties, says Sean. I'm going to appreciate Munster's fighting spirit. They have played well in their last 2 games, and 29-10 at halftime now this well, says Tony. And that is last ditch. Brilliant tackle made from Maxime Luku. Oh, referee just saying that someone was closing the gap. Luku's still the man. Yeah, it was between him and Pete Samu for my man of the match, and I feel like that tackle there may have pushed him into the right direction. Now, oh, massive shot from Munster. Still trying. Luku inside of his in-goal area does manage to kick the ball downfield, and that is a very good kick. Thacker Abrahams, his foot was on the line. And, oh no, in fact, it was already out. So it means that Munster are able to take this one quickly. They have got 4 minutes left to try and get something going. But Bordeaux is sweating here. They are nervous that they might have made a few crucial errors. Here is your Super Rugby Europe match, everyone, says Sean O'Farrell. Now line out for Niall Scannell. 3.5 minutes left. Luku Junius there. The thing is, all Munster need to do is score before the 80 minutes. Cheap shot on Connor Murray. Could end up with a penalty in favour of Munster. Thacker Abrahams goes on the outside. Means that Murray is a long way off that breakdown, which means Bordeaux have had a shot of being able to steal it back. Murray now just getting to those breakdowns. Oh, everything's over now, says Barry. Just went out for a glass of water and we score. Maybe I'll go for another drink and we might win, says Michael. Big shot coming in from Bordeaux there. Oh, counter ruck. It is fine, they say, and the turnover is good for Bordeaux, who get the offload away 40 metres out from the line. And beautiful offload to Maxime Luku. Goes to Biel Barre. And he will score the final try, more than likely, of this contest. The Bordeaux coach now a lot happier. But there was half a moment there where Bordeaux maybe were getting a little bit nervous that they had let that one slip away. Louis Biel-Barre is playing. He is indeed. He's been pretty quiet for this game overall. He does get the try at the end. And that's that, says Studs Race. And that's game, says Patrick. And there as well, yeah, just the 2 minutes remaining now. Munster gave it away again. Or is it 14, says Ruth. So currently 2 minutes remaining. And this one, Bordeaux versus Leinster final, I say now, says Barry. The crowd getting well and truly behind it. Hang on. We've got a stoppage. Okay, you can't play the 9 as the comment there from Ty Byrne. Also, there was an argument for that late shot on Murray, like I did mention. That wasn't actually in the breakdown. 2 red cards or one, just the 1 red card, but they've had about 3 other yellow cards throughout this one. And my 50 points to 31 pick wasn't far off. And g'day, Hamish. Predict that Munster will stage a brief fight back. That Bordeaux will score at the very end. We'll tell you what, Powerbite, it's as if you've already seen it, because that is extremely accurate. Barry would be good final, says Patrick. Now Maxime Luku off the kicking tee. Plenty of distance on it, and he does get it over. Certainly in the direction of man of the match. Like it's game over. Fair play, Bordeaux, and ref waiting for his Rivolo dig. And Hamish says Rory, an excellent chicken winger, says Blues Nate. Now just the 1 minute left. And hopefully Leinster can do it this year, says Barry. Who are they playing in the URC next week? I believe they haven't got a South African side, do they? They are going up against Ulster in an Irish derby. Now, passing across field here for Bordeaux. They will just give possession back to Munster. Give them the last chance of the day. Did Bordeaux play poorly or Munster playing great in the second half? It's actually a really hard one to say because Bordeaux took their foot well and truly off the gas the second 40 minutes. Munster have been trying, but they've had their fair share of errors. So I would say that Munster have played poorly, but to be where they are here is probably still a pretty decent effort from where they were. Here's Hamish and all. I'm going to watch some cars go around in circles. Says studs raised, ball pops out the back, but Munster do get themselves another penalty here. With just the 9 seconds remaining on the clock. And Pinot looks like he's walking in a very weird fashion. Looks like he might have some sort of cramp or something going on. Looks like he's sat on a cactus. But now, going to be the line out here for Munster, 22 metres out from Bordeaux's line. I might be wrong, but I think the team finishes at the top of the USC has ended up winning the comp in recent years. That might be wrong. I do think that Leinster were right up the top, weren't they, last season? I think they ended up losing. A little bit of a handling blunder there for Hodnett, but he's able to regather. Excellent winger. Buddy autocorrect. I was confused about Chicken being in there, but now I wanted Chicken. There's the knock on from Munster, and that will end the game. 47 points to 29. Bordeaux move through to the next stage, and they will face the winner of Toulouse versus Toulon, happening just around the corner. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We will be back with plenty more rugby tomorrow. We've got that match between Toulouse and Toulon to work out exactly who is going through. And of course, Castro versus Northampton happening just around the corner. Won't be covering that one on the channel. Instead, I'm going to make a cheese toasty and probably watch some of that game and try not to fall asleep, seeing as we have been up for quite some time. But thank you all very much for being here. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.